Hello friends, welcome back to my YouTube channel Vivek's Automation Lab. So in the last session we downloaded Docker into our machine and it is successful, right? So we can before we go ahead, when you download Docker desktop into your machine, it downloads Docker client and Docker server. So friends, Docker follows the client server architecture. It is same like browser, right? Browser is a client. When you put any request like google.com, so it talks to the server and it gets the response from Google, and it shows the pages in the response, right? So same way, Docker also follows the client server architecture, and when you download Docker, it downloads both Docker client and Docker server. So let's see that whether our Docker client and Docker server is installed successfully. So I'm going to execute some command from the command prompt, Docker commands, but we will discuss about Docker commands, why you execute from the command prompt in coming sessions. But for now, our purpose is just to check whether Docker is installed successfully or not. So just say Docker version. So we can see the Docker version, and it means our Docker client is installed successfully. But we have to see whether the Docker server is installed successfully or not. So if you say Docker PS, because this command is talking to the server, so if you get a successful result, it means the server is also installed successfully. So see, we got some result. It's not any error. It means the Docker client and server both installed successfully. But friends, sometimes you may get some error while you execute Docker PS command. Okay, this is because, if you see here, right, it says here, if you just highlight, it's saying Docker desktop is running. But if you get error, you just check it here whether Docker desktop is running or not. If it is not running, there could be an issue, and the issue will be mostly you have to download this Linux kernel into your machine. That's why. So if you see, read the error message, it will say, okay, you have to download this kernel into the WSL2 or something like that. You have to update this. So once you download it, it will go to your downloads folder right here, WSL update, and then you can install it just like any other software. And then you have to just restart. If you go here and just right click on this Docker and say restart, right? Once you restart, and then again you execute Docker PS, and it will work fine. So now the installation is done, friends. Now let's get into some concept, the basic and very important concept of Docker, and that is what is images and what is container. So let me go into some images here. Okay friends, so here we have an image. So if you see, right, I have highlighted something with the yellow color here. With this yellow color, let's highlight it, this yellow color, right? More yellow. Yeah. So this is our machine where we developed a Selenium script, and we used Java 8, Chrome 80, and Maven, and all the softwares that we need to develop this script. And we already know when you execute this script in the remote machines, it may fail because maybe those remote machines don't have the required softwares or the correct versions of the softwares, and it may fail. Also, suppose you don't need to run, but you have to give this code to your client. You are working for some client ABC, and they said, okay, now you are done, you can give this to me and I will execute by myself. Now you have to ask, okay, I can give you the code, but in your machine you need Java 8 specific version, Chrome 80, you need this and that will be that will be problem for them, right? So instead of that, what we will do is, like, we will create. So we have this Selenium script, and friends, it's a Java file, right? We will create executable jar files. Okay, with this we will learn how to make executable jar files in the coming sessions. Now we will change it to the executable jar files. So you can think like this. Okay, this is, suppose you have created some application, okay, some game application, and now to end users, you don't need to give the code, right? You just need to give them the application, the game, which they can use. They don't need code and all. So here, instead of giving this code, we will change it to the executable jar files, and we will give it to the client and they can run it, right? So how we'll give it to them is, like, we will create a package out of this, right? With the executable jar files and all the dependencies, Java 8, Chrome 80, and Maven, and whatever. So we will create a package, and in Docker terminology, this is called image. Okay, and we can give some name to image, like, okay, this image name is hello world. Okay, and then we will deploy it in the, if you see this blue color, right, that is a Docker hub. So we will deploy it here. our hello world. Now we will say to client, okay, so I have deployed this application, this project hello world into the Docker Hub. You can download it from here and you can run it, and you don't need Java 8 Chrome. You just need Docker into your machine, because if you have a Docker will do everything. Docker will create a virtual machine, right? Let's see here. Let's do this. So suppose the client, they will download this hello world here, right? And when they will execute, it will create a virtual machine into their machine, and this virtual machine will have all. So this virtual machine will be created. They will see, okay, this package needs Java 8, Chrome 80. Docker will read that, and Docker will create that virtual machine with all the required softwares into the machine where the clients or anyone who wants to execute after downloading it. So this virtual machine is called container. Okay, friends. So I think this is let me see. I can write it here. Okay, let's see. So this is called container. And so this is a container, okay, or virtual machine, but in Docker terminology we say this is a container. That's it, friends. It's that easy. Like, we created an image and we deploy it to the Docker Hub, and now whoever wants to use that image, they will download the image and then they will run it. And that running part, that virtual machine, the creation of virtual machine, is called container. Now let's go to this diagram, right? The another yellow color. This yellow color means, suppose this is our machine now. Okay, so in our machine we have a command prompt, and we downloaded the Docker. We downloaded Docker means we downloaded the Docker client and Docker server. So from the command prompt, when you execute any command, right? Say Docker PS or Docker version, whatever we did now. So it goes to the Docker client. So let's first understand, okay, what is the architecture of Docker. So for that, let's see what is the architecture of Docker right here. Okay, friends. So this is the architecture of Docker. So if you see, we have so this red color, right? We highlighted with the red color. So this is our machine. In our machine, we have a client and we have a server. When you download and install Docker, it installs both the client and server or host. Now client, we can say command prompt, from where we can execute the commands, from where we can send the request, right? When you execute the command, it means you are sending the request. And what is the server? Server is like from where our commands will be executed, right? And there is a registry or Docker Hub. So what happens when you create images, right? We created one image called hello world and we put it into the Docker Hub here. Let's highlight with blue color. So we have our hello world here. Okay, let's say we have our hello world. So we have our application hello world in the Docker Hub. Now from this client, you are saying, okay, I want that hello world application and I want to run it. So when you request for that happens from the client, and then client goes to the server. Oh, do you have this image? If you have it, it's okay. If you don't have it, you can just take it from the Docker Hub, and it will be downloaded into the machine, and then they can execute it. So friends, this part may be a little bit confusing for you, but when we do it in the actually, like when we execute the commands and everything, then it will be very easy for you. So we will come back to this again. So now let's see, here is the command prompt, right? So from the command prompt, we are executing the commands like Docker version or Docker PS. So these commands are into the client, and then this goes to the Docker server. And then Docker server, what it will do is like, okay, suppose you want hello world, right? So suppose you once when you say Docker pull command, let's understand what is Docker pull. So let me understand it here. So it will make more sense if we do it here practically, right? So Docker pull. So suppose there is a image in the Docker Hub called hello world. Okay, hello world. Actually, it is there. So now see what happened. It's saying, okay, using default tag is latest, like the latest version, and then pulling it from hello world, pull is complete. So what does this pull means? you are saying, okay, I want this application into my machine, pull it from there. So we are executing it from the client, right? Command prompt is the client. Now it will check the server in our machine. Okay, do you have this hello world? It will say, no, I don't have hello world. So, okay, then you can download it from the Docker Hub. So it will download, and now the pull is completed. It means we have Docker hello world program now. Now if you do it again, let's execute this again. Now what will happen? Now this time it will check again the server whether you have the hello world, and it will say, yes, I have it. Then, okay, do you have the latest version which is in the Docker file, in the Docker Hub? It will say, yes, I have it. Then it will not download it from the Docker Hub. Instead, it will just use it from the Docker server. That's it. But suppose in the Docker Hub, somebody updated the version of that application. Then when you say Docker pull, so this time it will say, okay, do you, the request you do it from the command prompt, that is a client, and it will go to the Docker server, and then it will say, okay, do you have a hello world? It will say, yes, I have it. Okay, do you have the latest version? Oh, I don't have the latest version. Then you can download the latest version from the Docker Hub, and then it will download only that part which is updated. It will not download everything. It will just download the whatever is updated part, and then it will come to the server, and then it will come to our machine, right? So let's now go to here again, right? So here the hello world is there in the Docker Hub. This is our client, the command prompt from where we are executing the command. Then it goes to the server, and whether it checks whether we have that hello world application. If we don't have, it will download from the Docker Hub. But if we already have it and it is the latest version, whatever version we have in Docker Hub, then it will not do anything. But suppose the version is changed, then again it will download the updated part from the Docker Hub. So this is how the architecture of Docker Hub is. Docker is. So if you see this diagram, right, the yellow color here, the command prompt, it goes to the Docker client, and then it goes to the Docker server. And then in the Docker server, it checks, okay, whether you have Docker hello world. It says no. Then if it says no, then it will say, okay, then you can take it from the Docker Hub. Okay, and now we got the hello world. Okay, and then once you have the hello world image in your machine, you can run it. So when you run it, it will become a container. So we'll see how we can run it. Let's see. Now suppose we pull the image, right? Now say Docker run hello world. So now it's saying get started. Actually, friends, it's just some example. We will see more depth later. So when it says it is started or something, then it means it's running, and the application is running a container. Now this container is running. Okay, friends. So maybe this is a little bit confusing, but when we talk more about this, when we actually create an image, when we deploy the image, when we download the image, you will be able to understand it, and maybe we will revisit this part again, right? So for now, you can see, okay, we downloaded the hello world image from the Docker Hub, and when you run it, so suppose hello world is a game, right? When you run it, it will make some sound or something like that. And when you say, okay, Docker run hello world, it is making that sound. So when it is doing that, that is called container or hello world app. And this is what is container. So running part of image is called container. Hope you understand this topic, and we will cover more topic in the next session. Thank you.